my film this week is Beau Is Afraid. It's the newest Ari Aster film. He's the director that did Midsommar and Hereditary. Love both of those movies a lot. Beau Is Afraid is a little bit different than, those horror films that we got from Ari Aster. In this film, the synopsis is following a sudden death of his mother, a mild-mannered but anxiety-ridden man confronts his darkest fears and embarks on an epic I forgot how to pronounce this. Kafkaesque, a journey, odyssey, back home. This stars Joaquin Phoenix, Patty LaPone, Amy Ryan. We have Nathan Lane, Parker Posey's in it. Kylie Rogers is in it. Those are the biggest stars in this film. It's a very interesting film. He's kind of, I would say he's kind of a loner, and his mother pretty much is like very overbearing, but he misses his airplane in the beginning of this film, and it's kind of a shit show after that for him. He's kind of wandering around. Some of it is, I'm gonna have to give it another watch because some things I think might have been in his head, like over exaggerated. But
it says he has anxiety, so I'm guessing that plays into it.
I personally have anxiety, but not to this level. Mm-hmm. I think he might be somewhat agoraphobic in this film. He's pretty much like, when we see this character in the very, very beginning of the film, he's having to run to his apartment because the outside is mad. And like I said, since he has anxiety, I kind of wonder if this is a bit of exaggeration of his experience or not. But in this movie, his mother is very overbearing, and he's kind of afraid of her and everything in the world, basically. Mm-hmm. Joaquin Phoenix does a good job in it. Nathan Lane does a good job. It's an interesting little thing that's going on with, when he is around Nathan Lane. I think that whole little story was a trip. But I can't really talk about too much of this film without spoiling it. But I personally liked it, but like I said, it's one of those that's still somewhat processing with me, and I'm going to have to give a second watch to. But like I was telling you before we start the show, Corey, I think you hate this film. It's 3 hours.
Yeah, that's a long time, man.
Yeah,
but I mean, Midsommar was close to that. But I really enjoyed that movie. I don't know.
I really enjoyed Midsommar, but this is a different type of, I wouldn't even really consider this horror. And
yeah, that's a weird thing because everyone's calling it horror, but I don't know. It's wild. Or at least how it's being, sold, all the press around it.
It says Kafkaesque odyssey, but it's a little bit more of
but see, you got to explain that. So what are the characteristics usually of Kafka type films? So I feel like we got to explain that. So it says characteristic or reminiscent of the oppressive or nightmarish qualities of Frank Kafka's fictional world. Okay.
So that explains it's just about like that then.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, well, you've also got, I'm looking at references to his books. The Trial is a big one. I think that became a motion picture, and he's got some kind of, I guess it may be more along his style of writing, like films that kind of, depict his writing style on the big screen.
This film kind of reminded me parts of like in the mouth of madness without it being a horror film. It's just crazy, kind of crazy shit happening. But I think majority of this is majority of what's happening is in this character's mind.
So I'm finding some examples of some of these type of films, and that people would say Kafkaesque. One of them
like
is,
being John Malkovich that should be listed in that.
Yeah, that's one.
Okay.
After Hours, Brazil, the trial film from 1962. Some people say some Cronenberg stuff, some Lynch stuff to an extent. So I guess these are things where maybe the characters are dealing with situations where some of that
it's not a normal reality. Yeah, it's not a real.
The Machinist, Insomnia was brought up in here. I'm looking at just a list. Inherent Vice, Barton Fink. So yeah, so that's pretty interesting. I did not know that, so we learned something today, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's. I don't know, man. I'll probably get around to seeing it because I still like this director. His previous works, even though I didn't love Hereditary, there are aspects of it that I think are cool because he does have a distinct style. He has a good way of, just setting up atmosphere and even dread at times. So that's what I really liked about like that Midsummer. Just that thing just hit, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I love Midsummer. Yeah, I love Midsummer. And I really liked Hereditary. Heredity or whatever. But this seemed like a completely different movie. I wouldn't even kind of consider this being the same director if I was blindly seeing this. It doesn't really remind me. I probably would have said that this was almost like when you said Inherent Vice. It kind of reminded me of when, and I'm blanking on the director. Who did Inherent Vice, Corey? I forgot.
Dang, I just had that.
It's Maya Rudolph's husband, and I can't think of his name.
Let me see.
And then he did.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Inherent Vice in a way, but it's different. It doesn't seem like an Ari Aster film to me at all. But I did like it for what it was.